Minglawa and welcome to my radio's Myanmar Today. I am Akajo. Today we reports on Pyithu Hluttaw discussing questions and approving bills on the 9-day meeting of the 17th regular session. Government carrying on control measures in possible places of huge crowds. Myanmar gearing up implementation of the Minimum Working Age Convention. Pyithu Crocodile Farm to create bizarre programs to animal lovers. All of that on this edition of Myanmar Today, but for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. State Councillor Daw San Suu Kyi, in her capacity as chairperson of the Central Committee for Development of the Border Areas and National Races, visited Kokojun Township yesterday. She held talks on development programs of the township with the department officials and viewed the high school and the People's Hospital. At the meeting hall of the Township General Administration Department, the State Councillor held discussions with the local officials. GAD officer Don Momo A reported on the situations of area, including population, rainfall, works for reopening of schools, renovation of school buildings, monthly rice supplies, electricity, major business of the township, development program, and facts about the township. Union Election Commission, Ministry of Office of the Union Government, Ministry of International Cooperation, Ministry of Transport and Communications, and the Ministry of Health and Sports held coordination meeting yesterday afternoon in Naypyidaw. The chairman of Union Election Commission said the purpose of the meeting was to facilitate the smooth running of the election process to hold the 2020 general election successfully. He also said that firstly, it was for advanced voting for Myanmar citizens living abroad, that the date to take out Form 15 and dates to receive the forms are announced. That the sending of Form 15, reviewed forms and ballot papers between Myanmar missions. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Commission will be carried out by relief flight. A relief flight of Air India landed at the Yangon International Airport yesterday evening, bringing in 54 Myanmar nationals who were stranded in India, while All Nippon Airways ANA relief flight brought 169 Myanmar citizens from Japan. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration and Population, the Ministry of Health and Sports, and the local officials helped the returnees for health inspections and arranged for 21-day quarantine. To bring back the Myanmar citizens who are stranded in foreign countries in relief flight and charter flight in accordance with the instructions of the National Level Central Committee on Coronavirus Disease 2019, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs cooperated with the relevant ministries and Myanmar embassies from respective countries. Myanmar rice export through sea trade generated an estimated income of $581.6 million as of 17th of July in the current financial year, and the figures reflect an increase of $181.4 million compared with the year-ago period, as per data from Myanmar Rice Federation. Myanmar maritime trade constituted over 85% of the rice exports. Earlier, border trade was relatively high compared to sea trade in terms of rice exports. Since the previous financial year, border trade has dropped, and currently it accounts for just 14.8% of the total rice exports. Rice exports through the borders have generated an estimated $96.68 million in the current financial year, which plunged from $173.3 million registered in the corresponding period of last year. That's all the local news. Now we will move on to our first report. The 9th day of Second Pyithu Hluttaw's 17th regular session was held yesterday. As terrorist marked questions were raised, a report was approved, a proposal was agreed for further discussions, and bills were approved. Laura Swayze has more.
Second Pyithu Hluttaw held its 9th day of 17th regular session on Thursday. Naypyidaw Council, Ministry of Education, and Ministry of Construction responded to the asterisk questions raised by the Hluttaw representatives. Inquiry report on antibiotic procurement and distribution management system by Health and Sports Promotion Committee was submitted and approved. One proposal concerning universal health coverage was submitted by a Hluttaw representative, and Hluttaw approved to hold further discussions. Pyithu Hluttaw also approved bills, which are Bill on Central Provident Fund, Bill on Protection of Individual Freedom and Personal Safety of Citizens, and Corrected Underground Water Management Bill. The Bill on Protection of Individual Freedom and Personal Safety of Citizens was submitted by Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the Pyithu Hluttaw on the 13th day of 2nd Pyithu Hluttaw's 15th regular session. It was sent to Myanmar Today, and the Myanmar Today approved the bill with corrections and additions on its 3rd day of 17th regular session. The amended bill was sent back to the Pyithu Hluttaw, and it was turned out that the Pyithu Hluttaw has different decisions on the corrections of the Myanmar Today.
ပြင်ဆင်ချက်များပေါ်အစိုးတင်သွင်းဆွေးနွေးလူသူများကို23ရက်9လ2020ရက်ကြာသပတေးနေ့နောက်ဆုံးထား၍တင်သွင်းနိုင်ကြောင်းကြေညာခဲ့တော်လဲဆွေးနွေးရန်နှင့်ပြင်ဆင်ချက်ဆိုတင်သွင်းသူဒုတိယမှမရှိခဲ့ပါ
Concerning this bill, the Pyithu Hluttaw called for the Hluttaw representatives who want to discuss the corrections and additions of Myanmar Today, but no one named. Pyithu Hluttaw Bill Committee held a meeting with Pyithu Hluttaw's Citizens Fundamental Rights Committee, Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and responsible persons from the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Office of Attorney General to review the corrected bills sent by the Myanmar Today. And it was decided not to agree with the Myanmar Today's corrections for 5 factors, and they are to be in accordance with the original proposal of Pyithu Hluttaw.
မြို့သားလွှတ်တော်၏ပြင်ဆင်ချက်များအတိုင်းသဘောမတူဘဲပြည်သူ့လွှတ်တော်၏အတည်ပြုချက်အတိုင်းထားရှိမည့်အချက် 5 ချက်ကိုလွှတ်တော်ကအတည်ပြုပေးနိုင်ပါရန်လွှတ်တော်သို့လေးစားစွာတင်ပြပါ
Because of the disagreement between the Pyithu Hluttaw and the Myanmar Today, the bill was to be sent to the Pyithu Hluttaw for seeking final approval.
ပြည်သူ့လွှတ်တော်တရားစီရင်ရေးနှင့်ဥပဒေရေးရာကော်မတီကတင်သွင်းခဲ့တဲ့နိုင်ငံသားများ၏ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆိုင်ရာလွတ်လပ်မှုနှင့်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆိုင်ရာလုံခြုံမှုကိုကာကွယ်ပေးဥပဒေကိုပြင်ဆင်သည့်ဥပဒေကြမ်းကို25ရက်3လ2020ရက်နေ့မှာပြင်ဆင်ချက်များဖြင့်အတည်ပြုပြီးတော့မြို့သားလွှတ်တော်သို့ပေးပို့ခဲ့ခြင်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်
The Bill on Protection of Individual Freedom and Personal Safety of the Citizens submitted by Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of Pyithu Hluttaw was approved and sent to Myanmar Today with corrections. And the Myanmar Today decided to approve the bill with the corrections on the approval of Pyithu Hluttaw. However, the Pyithu Hluttaw did not agree to approve 5 corrections of Myanmar Today. Because of this agreement between the two Hluttaws, it was supposed to submit to Pyithu Hluttaw.
ထို့သောသဘောထားကွဲလွဲတဲ့အချက် 5 ချက်ကိုပြည်ထောင်စုလွှတ်တော်သို့တင်ပြ၍အဆုံးဖြတ်ရယူသင့်ပါကြောင်း
The second Pyithu Hluttaw will continue its 10-day meeting on 20th August. News reported by Thora Susan from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on Pyithu Hluttaw discussing questions and approving bill on the 9th-day meeting of the 17th regular session. The government is carrying out control processes capable of stopping the possible occurrence of the second wave of COVID-19. The reported COVID-19 cases in the country are quite a very few number, only 1 case in a day and sometimes 1 case in 2 days. It seems to be a good and stable condition. Soirana has more.
The government is carrying out control processes capable of stopping the possible occurrence of the second wave of COVID-19. The National Level Central Committee of Prevention, Control and Treatment of the COVID-19 reissued a notice on the substitution of the ban of gathering not more than 5% with that of not more than 15% on 29th of July. The government also extended the restrictions until 15 August due to prevention of COVID-19 outbreak, which excludes the measures lifted. The period of operating the international flights has also suspended until 31st August. The reported COVID-19 cases in the country are quite a very few number, only 1 case in a day and sometimes 1 case in 2 days. It seems to be a good and stable condition. People are still going out with the reasons for their social and economic matters. The stability of reported cases in the country reduces the people's awareness in protecting themselves. Uttanaiu Region Hluttaw representative from Babedan Township Constituency 1 shared his opinions on how the second wave can occur when going to crowds.
ဒီကက်ရောဂါကကမ္ဘာမှာဟာလာဟိုပျောက်ကင်းမှုတွေ
People still seem to be careless in following health measures, as this disease will take much longer to completely disappear. Each and every citizen must wear the mask. Even wearing masks is not totally safe. Social distancing, avoiding crowded places, washing hands should be done by everyone. As we all know, there are also asymptomatic cases, so it is no good in going to crowded places because no one can see the virus carriers. The government is controlling greatly in order to reduce the crowd. The crowds can be the only place for the asymptomatic patients to spread the virus. We can see there are people who are wearing masks and also who don't wear masks, so the crowds can be the only reason for the virus to occur back again. Now the positive cases are only from foreign returnees. So we have prepared the quarantine centers, stay-at-home plans for them systematically. One thing I'd like to suggest is people are to wear masks.
COVID-19 situation in India, which is the neighboring country of Myanmar, has got up to third place all over the world, won the second outbreak August. Also in Vietnam, which has no deaths in the first wave, has increased to 9 deaths on 6 August. The union minister also urged the people to avoid crowds, to follow the 6 feet apart social distancing, to wear masks whenever going out, and to wash hands for 20 seconds. The announcement also includes that as the many countries in the world are rising in positive cases with the second wave infection, people should follow the guidelines properly. Dr. Sidolin, a specialist from Yangon Workers' Hospital, said about why our country is still in stable condition.
ယောဂရှင်းရှင်းလေးပဲပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ဖြစ်ပွားမှုနှုန်းများလာလေဒီသေဆုံးမှုနှုန်းတော့လည်းသူ့နောက်ကနေလိုက်တက်လာလေဒီပဲပေါ့အဲ့လိုဖြစ်ဖို့ကတော့ရှိတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ကွာခြားသွားတာတော့ဘာတွေကွာခြားသွားမလဲဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီသေဆုံးမှုနှုန်းဖြစ်တဲ့နေရာမှာဘယ်ဟာပေါ်မူတည်သွားမလဲဆို
The infection rate of this disease can rise. Together with the deaths all over the world, the reported positive cases are different due to the different measures of each country's medical equipment and specialized treatments. As we all know, the infection rates and the lockdowns in our neighboring countries become high again. The lockdowns are not suitable for everyone as COVID-19 impacts not only on health, but also on economic and social matters. One good thing of our country is that the government can control the foreign returnees very well by making them put into quarantines. We have to look forward at how long we can keep this situation stable. When the international flights are relaunched back again, we will need to consider how the government will handle the situations.
There are altogether 12 regions and states that are free from the virus. 289 people among the positive cases have been discharged from their respective hospitals because they have tested negative for 2 times consecutively. There are 61 active cases in the country that is under the treatments, according to the data released from the Ministry of Health and Sports on 5th August. In Myanmar, the COVID-19 positive cases have reached 357, with 305 recoveries and 6 deaths, according to the data released at 8 a.m. on 6 August.
That's a report on government carrying on the control measures in possible places of huge crowds. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration and Population, together with the International Labour Organization, UNICEF, and Myanmar Workers and Employers Organizations and Child Protection Civil Society Organizations, have come together in a webinar to lay the foundation for the implementation of the ILO Minimum Age Convention number 138, ratified by Myanmar on 8th of June 2020 and will take effect in June 2021. Our reporter David Tanner got the details.
Convention 138 requires countries to set a minimum age for employment aligned with the end of compulsory education, under which no one shall be admitted to work in any occupations except light work and artistic performances. It also prohibits hazardous activities for anyone under 18 years old. Salim Benaiza, Chief Technical Advisor, Myanmar Program on the Elimination of Child Labor, also told MI Radio regarding this.
The global COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated poverty, inequality, and deprivation among the most severely affected children. As there has been increases in school closures and hardship in poor families, The risk factor for children labor has also seen gradually increased. Though the challenges ahead significant, Myanmar's ratification of ILO Minimum Age Convention C-138 demonstrates a clear commitment to achieve a goal set in the National Action Plan, which is to prevent and protect children from child labor, particularly its worst forms, by 2033.
In Myanmar, the convention will apply to specific categories of employment. Myanmar has availed itself of a flexibility clause under Article 5 of the convention after consultation with workers and employers on the basis that its economic and administrative facilities are insufficiently developed. Therefore, it will initially apply the convention in 8 areas such as mining and quarrying, manufacturing, construction, electricity, gas and water, sanitary services, transport, storage and communication, plantations and other agricultural undertakings, mainly producing for commercial purposes, factories, shops and establishments as defined by existing labor laws. Director General of Factories and General Labor Laws Inspection FGLLID U Nyo Win also added on more about how Myanmar has been taking a big step towards the eradication of child labor.
ILO Minimum Age Convention number 138 has been ratified by Myanmar on 8th of June 2020 and will take effect in June 2021. This convention number 138 has been chosen because it is one of the well-noted and recommended convention for Myanmar from ILO, which is also one of the crucial things to prevent child labor rate from increasing at this time of period. Myanmar also has been taking steps to implement its child labor eradication program as part of efforts to secure a better future for the children in the country, which has 1.1 million children below 18 years of age engaged in labor and more than 600,000 children working in vulnerable situations. With those circumstances, the Myanmar National Committee on Child Labor Eradication, led by Vice President Wan, with 27 members, has been formed by notification number 23/2018, dated 5th of February 2018 from the Office of the President. Therefore, in my perspective, ILO Convention 138 might aid in the process of ongoing eradication of child labor as well.
From
the Labor Force and School to Work survey in 2015, there are approximately 1.13 million children in child labor across Myanmar, of which more than 600,000 are working in hazardous working environments. In addition to Convention 182 on the worst form of child labor that Myanmar ratified in 2013, ratifying Convention 138 on 8 June 2020 signals important progress in eliminating child labor in the country. Dr. Khai Khai Nwe, Joint Secretary General of UMFCCI, also explains for the processes of how Myanmar may have to comply with the convention.
Convention
When Myanmar ratifies the convention, it becomes legally binding on Myanmar. Myanmar will be required to report every 2 years to ILO's Committee of Experts on the application of conventions and recommendations, on how it complies with the convention through its laws, policies, and practices, and improvements on certain sector of where the convention applies.
Reporter David Tanner reporting from Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report in Myanmar gearing up the implementation of the Minimum Working Age Convention. Under the guidance of the Ministry of Health and Sports, Takeda Crocodile Farm, only a place of development conservation of Myanmar's crocodile generation, was open to the public starting from the 1st of August. About 546 crocodiles of different sizes, ranging from 1 to 10 feet, are being conserved in Takeda Crocodile Farm. Swayman, Minton Ochin and Yanai Laukai report.
Under the guidance of the Ministry of Health and Sports, Takeda Crocodile Farm, only a place for developing conservation of Myanmar's crocodile generation, was open to the public starting from the 1st August. Crocodilus properus, known as the species that is becoming extinct, is being mainly consumed in Takeda Crocodile Farm. It is located on Mya Kwa New Street in Industrial Ward, Takeda Township in Yangon Region. About 546 crocodiles of different sizes ranging from 1 to 10 feet are being consumed in Takeda Crocodile Farm. Takeda Crocodile Farm, having an area of 40 acres, is a worth visiting site for observing crocodile species and going for recreation for the public. During the outbreak of COVID-19, it had to be closed for about 4 months. Now it has been reopened to the public, but the number of visitors is not that many. Therefore, further programs like awareness and demonstration have been planned to capture the interest of the public on the public holidays.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Dr. Myo Min Lai is the deputy director of Takeda Crocodile Farm, and he said,
Okay, ကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့အဓိကရွေးချက်ကတော့ဒါကျွန်တော်တို့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံမှာမိချောင်းမျိုးစိတ်ကငကိုတော့4ခုရှိခဲ့တယ်ဗျ
Our objective is to conserve the crocodile species. There were 4 crocodile species in Myanmar in the past, but only Crocodilus porosus seawater species is left, and it is also on the list of extinction. Naturally, the crocodiles are being conserved in Bugli, Iawari region, regarding it as the natural conservation area where it is home to about 100 crocodiles. It is also open to the public so as to observe the species of crocodiles. No crocodiles are found in Republic of Korea, Japan, and Western countries. The seawater crocodiles live in hot regions.
Before the outbreak of COVID-19, the number of foreign tourists visiting the crocodile conservation camp was about 30 to 50 in a month. In the peak season, there were about 100 foreign tourists. During the previous fiscal years of the 2018-2019, there were about 800 to 1,000 foreign tourists. The number of domestic tourists was about 15,000 to 20,000. U Dainlui, the crocodile analyst of number 3 Crocodile Conservation Point of Takeda, said.
There
are many salient points to study the crocodile. Its legs and hands are not the same in size. It has 7 eyes shells, but it has no tongue. It has sensible eyes to be aware of something. I would like to Myanmar people to search such kinds of knowledge from now on. This is not the animal that doesn't give danger. If they grow to 6 or 7 feet long, they have to be chained into the reproduction pond. This size of crocodile can pose a danger. In this stage, they can jump well.
The animal lovers can study the different sizes of crocodiles, ranging from 1 to 10 feet, and they can feed the foods to them. Now, in charge of incubation room of number 1 Crocodile Conservation Point, spoke to MI Radio.
The female crocodile lays eggs from April to July. We have to search the crocodile eggs in the forest, and they have to be taken into incubation room, and they have to be put into the cow container. When they are 90 days old, baby crocodiles hatch out. They have to put into incubation room for 45 days, and they have to be fed. When they are 2.5 months or 3 months old, they have to be transferred to number 1 pond. They have to be put into the number 1 pond until they are 1 to 3 feet long. When they are over 3 feet long, they have to be transferred to number 3 pond. They have to be put into number 3 pond until they are 3 to 7 feet long. When they are 7 feet long, they have to be transferred into natural drinking pond.
The walkways were formerly made of timber in the 40-year-old Takeda crocodile farm, and later they were in room. In 2017-2018 fiscal years, they were upgraded into the reinforced concrete bridge. In 2018-2019 fiscal year, gas holes were built with reinforced concrete. Now, Takeda Crocodile Farm has been open to the public. The entrance fee for Takeda Crocodile Farm costs 500 jets per domestic visitor and 1,000 jets per foreign visitor.
That's a report on Takeda Crocodile Farm to create bizarre programs to animal lovers. That's all with the reports on Myanmar Today. Now let's move on to international news here on Myanmar Today. Chinese President Xi Jinping has encouraged people from all sectors of the society to give advice on a new policy blueprint for the next 5 years. Xi Jinping, also General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, said formulating and implementing 5-year plans for economic and social development are important ways for the Communist Party of China to govern the country. He made the remarks in a recent instruction to people formulating the blueprint. She stressed the need to aptly coordinate the work on top-level design and soliciting public opinions and making concerted efforts to compile the plan. Australia's second biggest city, Melbourne, began the first day of a 6-week total lockdown on Thursday. Most shops and businesses closed to contain a second wave of COVID-19 infections, yet raising new fears of the food shortages, economic downturns, and confusion and uncertainty about the virus. From Wednesday night, Melbourne, the capital of Victoria State, will close retail, some manufacturing, and administrative businesses as part of a 6-week lockdown. More than 250,000 people were thrown out of work on Thursday. Those whose jobs are deemed essential need government-issued permits to travel the nearly empty streets to get to their jobs. The new measures are expected to double the number of jobs affected by the coronavirus restrictions to around 500,000, and along with those working from home, will keep 1 million people from moving around for work.
We have tried to get that balance between reducing the amount of movement, therefore reducing the number of cases, but not compromising what you need being on the supermarket shelves. You may not necessarily be able to get exactly the cut of meat that you want, but you will get what you need, and you will get all the products that are basically that are fundamentally important to you.
China firmly opposes the U.S. government's action to eliminate Chinese apps from its digital networks. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said in a daily briefing on Thursday. Wang made the remarks as U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Wednesday announced plans to expand its so-called clean network and urged American companies to bar untrusted Chinese apps from their app stores, including WeChat. Wang said the United States' claim has no factual basis and went against the market principles. The decision is to protect its monopoly in the high-tech field.
An intensified effort against China. Not long after its plans to ban TikTok, the U.S. announced an expansion of its Clean Network campaign targeting Chinese tech companies.
With parent companies based in China, apps like TikTok, WeChat, and others are significant threats to personal data of American citizens, not to mention tools for CCP content censorship.
The campaign focuses on 5 critical areas in telecommunications and technology infrastructure, from clean apps to clean cloud, and it aims to prevent Chinese apps and telecom firms from accessing information on U.S. individuals and businesses. China hit back, saying many Chinese companies unilaterally sanctioned by the U.S. are innocent. It insists those products and services are safe.
U.S. politicians keep using the excuse of protecting national security and abusing the country's power to curb Chinese high-tech companies. China firmly opposes this. The action done by the U.S. have no factual basis, and they're smear and political manipulation.
Pompeo gave few details on how the efforts will be carried out. But according to the U.S. State Department, more than 30 countries and territories have joined the campaign. The Trump administration is set on countering the reach of Chinese-made technology in the U.S. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi described the actions by Washington as a textbook case of bullying.
U.S. politicians keep using the excuse of protecting national security and abusing the country's power to curb Chinese high-tech companies. China firmly opposes this. The action done by the U.S. have no factual basis, and they're smear and political manipulation.
The U.S. government has already been cracking down on Chinese technology companies. It has long singled out telecom equipment provider Huawei, encouraging allies not to use its equipment in their 5G networks. As the new science and technology revolution is picking up speed, China said it hopes that the U.S. will give up its obsession with its narrow self-interest and return to the right track of openness and cooperation. Wang Xiwei, CGTN.
And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Agacho. Have a great day, everyone. Stay home, stay safe. I'll see you again. Goodbye.